This is the aftermarket report with Vegas and Jim. Vegas made it back to town. She was on chat today, but she's getting a little rest and getting some goodies and storing up refrigerators, so she'll be with me on the next broadcast. Today's date is 12/18/2018, and we're going to talk about a few stocks today. We're going to talk about one right now that's running after hours. This in here, I'm going to pull up the website. First, I'll pull up the website. This is called ADRO. ADRO is the company's name. Well, they got a big contract today for over $360 million per product. They're going to get an advance upfront payment of $12 million. So we're excited about this after hours. I called the pullback after the breakout. We look at this year's chart. Right now we're sitting at 320, but I called this thing down at $3.35, 305, and we hit that high and it pulled right back to that support area. But this stock here ran up to 993 one time at the year, and it's had some ups and downs, but it looks like a pretty good little stock to swing. And then we had some drama here, and we hit a yearly bottom twice down here at the bottom. It bounced up to resistance of around $3, so it's really around 288. I'll put that trend line in there. But after hours, I'm going to pull up the daily. First, I'll pull up the 20 just to show you. We kind of hovered in this channel from 247 up to 305. Today we hit a low of 242, and then after hours it got that news and it bounced all the way up to $4.20. So my suggestions is to keep this on watch. Too bad you couldn't get in down at that support at $3 that I called in the room. But we hit a 305 on the pullback, and then we're bouncing up on that. I'm going to pull up in 1 day, 1 minute. You can see how I at first I drew this line at 298 to $3. Then when I pulled up the 5-day chart, I saw something a little bit different. See this little hump right here? So it did a confirmation here, definitely down here at that 298 level. So in that channel right there would have been a pretty good little pullback area. You see how it bounced up here after market right there at the 298, and that's where it ripped from. Ripped from there all the way to 420. So that's a $1.20 bounce in a matter of seconds. So now we pulled back, we hit that support at 305, and we're at 320. I'm going to keep this thing on watch first thing in the morning, pre-market. And if I can get it below 3, I'm in it for a scalp. If not, I'll just wait till I see the right time for entry. So that's ADRO. Put that on the top of your list for tomorrow morning, even pre-market. And then I want to talk about GE. I really believe GE's hit a bottom. For right now, in a way, it got upgraded. I called this number right down here at 670 when we had the double bottom. It actually had a 666 low, but when we had that confirmation of some candlesticks there, I called 670, and it bounced on up. And then here, when we got this news, see how that gap, and then we had that big bounce from 695 all the way up to about 761, but I have a resistance at 56. So it pulled back that day after that big run. Then we had a little bounce pre-market, and it pulled back to support here right around 702. And for the past 3 days, it's ran on up. Then we had another breakout today to that resistance that I called at 756 with a 763 high. And actually, you know, I could bring it up to about 758 if I wanted to be selfish, stingy, greedy, but it's 758. So I'm definitely bullish on this stock. If you look at the year's chart, it don't look too pretty. Not pretty at all. But we keep bouncing up to this area. So if we can break past that 758, we'll make a catalyst up to about 791. But like I always say, don't chase the stock, wait for the pullbacks for entry, especially if I'm bullish on them, because they will bounce back. And that's GE, and I'm semi-bullish on it, 50%. for scalping. Scalping only, not for a hold, for scalping. So this is another one that Jimmy likes. That is UXIN. This stock Vegas and I have called out from the very beginning. It's a China play. It had a real hard sell-off, like everything else has. And I blame a lot of it on the feds and on our politicians and on the fat cats on Wall Street. You know, they got a bunch of free money for 8 years, and now they're trying to kill the market again. So none of it makes any sense to me. I think it's rigged. So we had bottom play here at 281, and we ran this stock all the way up to where we're starting to feel like a little bit of resistance is hit. We had a high up to $9 almost, and it's pulled back that next day and really landed hard on this support level of a 100 SMA and bounced up off that, pulled back, and then the last 3 days it's kind of bounced out, and we closed with a red candle today. So when I see, you know, I think we've hit kind of we had a high here about 5 months ago at that little trend line I have here at 871. Then we have the year high up here at 1049. This is a China car play, and I really like the fact that China has so many people, and they do drive a lot of mopeds, but yet they still have a lot of cars in that country. So I think it's going to pull back just a little bit, then I'm going to try to get back in it. I've played this thing all the way down from here, so I've done fairly well. I made a ton of money on it, but I've done fairly well with it, especially made good calls on it. So I'm going to bring it down to the daily and just show you how it looked like today. See, we had this yesterday. I played this stock at resistance to 835, and I called it here at 722. That was a dollar bounce. Called it first thing, and called it pre-market. I called it the day before. Okay, don't take me wrong. I said it was going to pull back to $7, and it did, and then it bounced on up to 835. And when I call a stock to pull back, they usually do. So it did pull back, and we did bounce up, and then we consolidated at that high, and we did pull back to that other support level I had at 793 yesterday. Well, history repeats itself. So today, pre-market, it pulled right back almost at 793 again, hit 801, and bounced up and hit a big high today at 923. So that 923 didn't hold, and it sold off all morning back down here to the 755 support level. And then after that dip, you know, that's a $2, that's a $1.75 dip right there. Okay, and I'm very bullish on this stock. So once it hit that support level, it bounced on back up, and here we settled again at yesterday's resistance. And then right after hours on the daily 1 minute, we pulled back to 825. So we'll see what happens with this tomorrow. If it pulls back to again to this 793 area, that's where my first support's going to be. But we could see this spot right here, right around 820, and continue on up. But we've hit a resistance. I'm very bullish on this stock too, but we've just gone up too high, too fast. We're up like 400%, and well, from 281 all the way up to 300%, 320% in a matter of less than 2 weeks. But you can see we had the good run, then we had the pullback, and we started a new channel here. So if we can keep this channel, and I'll show you what trend line I'm talking about. If we keep this channel from here to here going, I'm looking at a support level right around 767. And I'll post this in the room to anybody that's curious what I'm talking about. You know, I do this live also in the room, so people can hear me talk about them. And I'm going to paste that in there. So I'm talking about UXIN. So let's see if we can pull back to that trend line, and it might change tomorrow. It might be a little bit higher than that. Right now we're kind of starting to pull a little pullback, but that support level matches the right there on the 50 SMA, and that's right around 774, 768. So keep UXIN on watch, and that's the third one. Then this is the one that I really love. This is the one that I've mentioned last couple times in the video, and I've mentioned it on the when that idiot came out and started bashing this stock. Said something about skulls and bones and all this, and I'm laughing at him because this is the time that the farm bill was signed. So this stock's very active with the farm bill, and now it's getting new contract and it's getting news. So today I had a sense that we kind of hit a top here at 18.5, and I did call that in the room, and I did say we were going to pull back a little bit, and we did. So we hit that 18.5 and pulled all the way back to 16 cents, and then it bounced up again after hours. So I'm going to be watching this stock closely tomorrow for an entry. I've got a couple ideas, maybe around 16.3, and if that don't hold, we'll get down here at about 14.5. But that would be a low support. And, you know, I mean low support. We could go back to this 16 again and bounce back on up. So I'm definitely going to be keeping KALY on watch, KALY. She's my baby. And we called this thing down in the very lows. I know somebody got in this stock at that level right here, and she's doing very well with it. Very well. And that's KALY. So the next one we're going to talk about is my all-time favorite, NBEV. Been calling this out for almost 3 months now. We called this thing down here when we figured out what kind of stock it was, right down here at 166. We ran it all the way up to 10 bucks in a matter of 5 days. It had a real hard sell-off to a pivot point, which was in the resistance on the ear, which was right around 393. You can see me draw that trend line in here. I'm going to post this also in the room so people can look at it as I talk about it. You won't be able to see me draw the trend lines, but you'll see that last one I did when I called that support. And I'm going to put that right here. And there's that other one. So we went from 393 and we bounced up from this here little pullback right here around 547. It ran back up and hit resistance all that time. So we've been very bullish on this stock. There's no doubt. We love this stock. And then we called this thing back out when it was at $3 last month. And now we're back up here hovering around a resistance area. So we've got a pretty good long target on this next year to 12 bucks. This could be a buyout stock, NBEV. I got a little freaked out today when I got in here. I flipped it 7 times today. I called every breakout, every pullback. I called this channel. I called the pullback on the channel to the 100 SMA. We bounced up and hit resistance. Then we pulled it back again right here. I got a little nervous right here because some kind of news popped up. I was trying to figure out what it was, and I didn't want to. I just got in the stock, and it knifed on me. So when it got down here to this bottom support level, I picked up some more, and I was able to get out a little above even right here at my resistance level at 645. Then it ran all the way up to 652, and then right before close, we pulled back to that support level again at 635. So I'm not liking this end of day action on here. I'm definitely 100% bullish on this stock. I'm not in it right now, so I'm going to come in the morning. I'm going to analyze it, and I'm going to see if I can get in at a dip. I don't want it to go below this 626. That's a real solid spot for me right there. So that's NBEV. We're 100% bullish on it. We love playing that. You see what I did with it yesterday? I mean, this sucker, it was way down here, you know. down here at that other support level at 582, and I was yelling in the room, strong buy, strong buy. And we ran it all the way to 644. And then I got out and I pointed out a couple other spots, and then we created this flag. And once we got in this flag, I called for the breakout. And then we got the golden cross right here, and she bounced on up. And she pulled back and she bounced up. She pulled back and she bounced up. So this is what this stock likes to do. So it's a 100% scalper stock. I don't like holding it overnight because I know I can get in it on the dip the next day. So this is NBEV. And then the last one I'm going to talk about was the morning breakout stock of the day. And I mean, NBEV wasn't. NBEV broke out and then it pulled back and hit support at 626. Then we found that wedge, that channel right here. So this, I mean, this was just, there's anybody, my grandma, or even my little nephew that's 3 years old could probably play this trade. So we're 100% on that one. And then I'm going to talk about the last one, that's MRIN. Today I noticed right out of the gate that this thing was pretty strong, pre-market. So I got in it right here and made a small little scalp right when the market opened. You see how it bounced up? See how that bounced up? So that was a good 50-cent flip right there, 40-cent flip. 50-cent flip right there, and I got out of it, and it all ran almost to $5. And I had a 494 resistance line that I drew on it. So I'm going to just go back in history here and show you the 5-day, 5-minute. You see the breakout we had here after hours? How it pulled back to that support level that I had. Then we had the breakout and it pulled back. So we're going to come in tomorrow. I didn't quite understand why it couldn't hold today. I thought we'd get a little pullback and it'd bounce on up, but she went ahead and pulled back a lot more. Maybe because it was at 220 yesterday and we hit $5 today. So $2.80 bounce, 12 hours. That's a pretty big bounce. So it had to consolidate. So we hit that 357 and bounced up to 406. So there's another little flip you could have got in there if you followed that trend line. But after that play there, I just kind of said I got tired of it, and I started looking at NBEV, and because NBEV was down there by that time, and I was able to jump in it. So that's the aftermarket report, and Vegas will be with us tomorrow. She's resting right now, and she was a lot of fun to be with today. I was glad to have her back. She's the better half of me. I trade the charts, she trades the companies, and she knows what she's talking about. So this is the aftermarket report. Today's date, December the 18th, 2018, and I love stocks.